You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I am back. Rudrance for Black and White Sports 2. If you're new to the channel, hit subscribe, like, comment, tell us what you're going to think about this. This is going to be interesting, I think. We're going to talk about Ben Roethlisberger and Kenny Pickett. Now, I'm going to let you know I liked Kenny Pickett a lot coming out of that draft. Far and away, I thought the best quarterback coming out in that draft. And I thought Kenny should or would have been looked as among the better quarterbacks that have come out in the last 3 years or so. But we have devalued the guys that are just going to be solid NFL quarterbacks with potential to be 10 to 15-year starters. Okay, and he dropped down in the draft, and all the stars aligned for the Pittsburgh product went to the University of Pittsburgh to get drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, it was a total match. You've got a great head coach in Mike Tomlin, and you've got, of course, a extremely stable organization. And I can tell you right now, Kenny Pickett is going to win a ton of games for this franchise, just being a Derek Carr / Kirk Cousins type. And I think what you're going to see here is if Derek Carr or Kirk Cousins was dropped on to the Pittsburgh Steelers, an organization that is just really foundationally solid, I think you're about to see what that would look like from a winning perspective, right? Now, for example, Kirk Cousins, that defense around the Vikings last year was trash. But, man, he's been putting up some numbers for a while. And, of course, Derek Carr, well, the Raiders never had a defense. And I think he's going to look a lot different. Now, there is a big concern around Dennis Allen as the head coach. I'm not sold on him. We know what his track record's like. He's no Sean Payton. But if Derek Carr had a Mike Tomlin type, right, in an organization like that, no telling what Derek Carr would have done. I normally would have said the Patriots here, but nobody understands what the hell was up with Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. Literally, the Patriots in 1 year became a totally dysfunctional franchise on the offensive side of the ball. That's on Bill Belichick. So, let's get to this because this is wild. We know Ben Roethlisberger is a legend in Pittsburgh. He's going to walk in as a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's got a couple of rings, and he has put up some crazy-ass numbers. Now, one could argue, and by the way, Ben Roethlisberger's got a really good podcast, and it's on YouTube called Footballin'. So I would go check it out. It's good. But, you know, one could argue Ben probably stayed around 1, maybe even 2 years too long. And but he had some surprising things. And I'll give him credit for one thing that he said here prior to launching into this, because he is going to get drug over this. He did admit, he self-admittedly said, I'm going to get destroyed for this. But this just tells you how competitive these guys are and how much they do truly care about their legacies, especially with a franchise like the Steelers. I mean, this is wild. Bleacher Report. Ben Roethlisberger. I didn't want Steelers Kenny Pickett to succeed in the NFL early on. I mean, that's crazy. Why? Because he did not want people to change their perspective of him. I mean, that's in this. Look, Kenny Pickett is going to have to do a lot of winning, grabbing a trophy or two before anybody's ever going to talk about him in the same way that they talk about Ben Roethlisberger, either from an NFL history perspective or definitely a Steelers perspective, right? Wow. Kenny Pickett was drafted to be the successor to Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh. But that doesn't mean that the Steelers legend was in fact a fan at first. When Pickett appearing on his latest episode of Footballin' with Ben Roethlisberger podcast, Roethlisberger admitted, starting around the 130 mark, I guess you guys could go look it up, that he wasn't rooting for Pickett to have success right away as a rookie. Quote, early on, I didn't want him to succeed because I didn't want he followed me up. That's a little odd way to say it, but okay. I didn't want him to succeed because he followed me up. I didn't want it to happen. I think that's probably the selfishness in me. Not probably, Ben. I'm just letting you know. Not probably. And I think that's probably the selfishness in me, and I feel bad for it. But as the season went on, he got like his third game playing. I was rooting for him. I was excited for you. I wanted you to succeed. I wanted you to win games. I wanted you to get to the playoffs. And so I feel bad that I felt that early on. But I'm glad that I transitioned into love and rooting for you. Despite the initial thoughts, the two-time Super Bowl champion mentioned that he owned a Pickett jersey and wears it on game days. Quote, I was pleasantly surprised. I'm glad I was wrong in the sense of where I had you, Roethlisberger said. I thought you'd be a quarterback that was good, that was going to come in. I think you are the future of this team. I really do. And I think they got, the fans should be lucky. They are lucky they got you. He added, it's been fun watching Pickett and that he is a fan. Pickett was the 20th overall selection in 2022 and started 12 games for the Steelers his rookie year. He went 7-5 as a starter, threw 2,400 yards, 7 TDs, 9 interceptions. He will have to go a long way to catch the future Hall of Famer in the franchise book. Roethlisberger is the team's all-time leading passing quarterback. I don't know what they were trying to say here. Bleacher Report, come on. With 64,088 passing yards. And I mean, yeah, Kenny Pickett has got a very long way to go. He's got 15 years to go to catch Roethlisberger. And who knows if he even ends up staying with the Steelers, right? Most likely he would if he's any good. And I had a feeling he was going to be a very solid pro quarterback when he came out. But I'm just gonna say it. I think a lot of people, a lot of franchises, a lot of people in the NFL are putting value on these dual threat quarterbacks, and then guys like Kenny Pickett are slipping out that are going to be 12-year franchise starters, and that could bring total stability to a franchise, And so I don't know. I mean, the kid's young. I think he has a pretty big year this year in his second season. I do. I think the Steelers are going to be, it's going to be the Steelers and the Bengals. I'm sorry, Ravens. As of right now, you've got your changing offensive philosophies. It's the Bengals and the Steelers. And Mike Tomlin, you can't rule him out. You can't rule him out. All that coach knows how to do is win football games. I mean, my God, the year that they had last year, and they still were competitive all the time, it seems like. He just will not field a non-competitive team. It's unbelievable. And by the way, I was talking about Mac earlier. Mac's going to have a big year with the Patriots. I'm just saying it. Bill O'Brien, I mean, that's all going to fall into place. And so I think there's some devaluing of certain kinds of quarterbacks now. And I think it could wreck a lot of franchises. Truly. I mean, I think we're in a total world where you had 4 quarterbacks coming out in the draft this year that everybody was talking about, and only Bryce Young hits. And the other 3, nah. I mean, I think there's a world where C.J. Stroud, Anthony Richardson, and Will Levis are all bust. It is what it is. And I'm not saying they overvalued, but I just think that if you look at the history of football, that Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Trey Lance draft, that, oh my God, we got 4 quarterbacks. Well, you got 2 of them right now that don't look great as passers. Trey Lance looks like a bust. Justin Fields, I mean, look, people around the league thought the Bears should have drafted Bryce Young and traded Justin Fields. Because if you go look at the amount of turnovers Justin Fields had when you throw in fumbles, that's sort of a train wreck that nobody wants to talk about. I mean, yeah, he looked unbelievable once they started letting him run the ball, but He was a turnover machine. Mac Jones had the down second year, but, I mean, had the train wreck situation of all train wreck situations at offensive coordinator. Trevor Lawrence looks like a franchise quarterback. So, oh, yeah, Zach Wilson, bust. I mean, that's just how it kind of works out. If you got 5, 2 are going to kind of hit. Or one of them's going to hit, the other one's going to be iffy and solid or whatever, and then like 3 busts potentially. I don't know. Bears fans going to hate me for the Justin Fields thing, but look, I'm going to need to see a massive cut down on turnovers, or the Bears are going to be chasing Caleb Williams next year in the draft. I don't know. That shows you. I think this is interesting from Roethlisberger, though. That shows you the psycho nature of these guys and their legacies and how they want to be viewed. And it's that kind of arrogance that drives these guys to be great. I don't know what it is, but there's some little something in football players that are so competitive that it's like, I want the next guy to fail because I want my legacy to stay intact. It sounds like he's come around, but you get the point. Initially, wow, crazy. Is a good podcast, too, so go subscribe there. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.